Hi y'all, we're here for another Say Yes to Huntsville interview. This is Daiquiri Beebe with Abbey Realty, and I'm here today with BJ McMichael. He is the co-chair of the PAC for Huntsville schools. It's called Building for Champions. So BJ, tell us about why you formed the PAC.
Absolutely. Well, we care about our school district, care about our kids, care about our teachers, care about this community. And so we're actually across the street right now to make sure that we get to see, this is Huntsville High School. And there's some big things that could happen here as well because our kids deserve it. You know, it's been 23 years since there's been any modernization, really updates of our schools. Now, if you think about it, in our homes, who would go 23 years without making updates?
None of us would not. Yes.
Right? And so for our children and their future, and of course where we want Huntsville to be, these type of upgrades are needed. So what happened is a while back, there was a committee that was formed, a long-range planning committee. You were able to be a part of that. We were able to really look at, okay, we know something needs to happen, and the school district welcomed us in to provide information. You know, it was parents, it's community leaders, it's business owners, it's all of these volunteers and people who have a vested interest in Huntsville that said, well, what if we did this? And we had all those options.
Yes.
And the one option that just we couldn't get away from and everyone kind of came back to, even though it wasn't something that we probably all agreed on. There's parts of it like, I wish this would happen or this would happen.
Yes.
But we all were like, this is the where we'd want to go with it. And so we helped to come up with these bond proposals of really adding to what's already there for every campus.
Right.
An update, a fresh look, you know, like for Mance Park, the condemned building that's there.
Yes.
To make that a cafetorium or a performance place where, you know, the junior high can have a place where they can do that, eat, but also perform, and it gives a facelift to that building.
Yes.
But then also we can add classroom space, because here's the kicker. Here's the great part about it. It's the realignment of our grades.
Right.
So each campus, each elementary school campus now can have pre-K through 5, one transition to the junior high, 6 through 8, and then another transition to the high school. So now we're just looking at 2.
For me as a mom, that's going to make life so much easier. I know all us moms with 2 or 3 or more kids, it's hard to go to 4 or 5 different schools in one day.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this makes life a lot easier, and it'll be better for the kids because they won't have as many transitions.
Yes, transitions, and then it's great for the teachers, because if a teacher has a kid in pre-K and kindergarten, and they kind of get to follow that kid to 5th grade, so you have teachers kind of sharing learning experiences with a student that they continue to pass on to the next teacher to help that student even more in the process and the education that they're receiving here in Huntsville. So as we went through this process, we knew we just got to do this, and this is just such a great way for Huntsville to, you know, we know being in Huntsville, we are state-owned and state town, where you have Sam Houston State University, you have the prison system, and so a lot of our property, we don't receive the tax benefits from it. Yeah. So we kind of have to take care of our own. Right. We have to make sure that our children and our community is where it needs to go. It's kind of dependent on us, and this is one way that we can do that.
And this money is going to be very low interest rate, so it's going to be very inexpensive for the schools once we do pass a bond. And then there's going to be 2 propositions, correct?
Yes.
Can you explain the 2 different ones?
Yeah, 2 propositions, and the first one is a $92 million, Proposition A, $92 million. Now, the great part of this is primarily the academic environments for our campuses, so to help the realignment happen. So realignment doesn't happen unless we can add classroom space, we can update facilities, technology-wise, bring them where they need to be, that we can make those improvements so that we can take, like, say, Scott Johnson, we'll retire that one, move it to where HIS, that will become the new Scott Johnson, but we'll be able to have pre-K through 5th grade in that one because of the additional spaces that happen at each elementary school, at HIS, Huntsville Intermediate, also at Mance Park. The additional classroom space opens that up to where we can have the realignment. So Proposition A, the biggest part of it is primarily that. Now there are the cafetorium, like at Mance Park, that we're going to add. There is the auditorium that we're wanting to build here at the high school. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it, a lot of even our junior high shows, they have to be multiple shows because you can't fit everybody in there.
Right.
And so having a place where our theater and our technical theater and band can use it, if we need to use it for a graduation, actually that would help with the stadium, which is Proposition 2. So The second proposition.
First of all,
go
another thing on the Prop 1 is you have the softball and baseball fields.
And that's the other one added in.
Are not at the school. So
Yes.
this will allow students to participate at school in softball and baseball.
And
so it's
so-
a newer, nicer facility than what's now available.
And so we need it because look at this. This is the road that we're on. It is so busy in front of the high school that for years, our softball and our baseball players have had to get into their vehicles after school, go down to the practice fields. Sometimes other students can't get their parents to pick them up at 3:30 when school's out and they have to go. So they have had to give some of their friends rides and pile into vehicles, and it's been unsafe, but it's all they could do to make that happen.
Right.
Now, what we have here is the softball and baseball complex actually built on to the campus to where they're not having to get in their cars and drive anymore. All they're having to do is walk down to a facility that is theirs, and then the school gets all the revenues from it, because right now we have to pay the city to use any of their things. Now if that belongs to the school system, then they don't have to pay for that anymore, but also they can bring other tournaments, they can bring other things in, revenue in for the school. So yes, that's a part of Prop A, and that's all what we had kind of decided in the long range planning committee. Now, we had a great football season.
Right.
We had to play our last 3 home games at Madisonville.
Yeah.
Madisonville was gracious. They allowed us to use their place. Well, we had to pay for it.
Yeah.
Just like we have to pay for Sam Houston. And we had to finish up, and we had to play a playoff game that we could have played in our own place.
Right.
Had we had our own field. And so our coaching staff, Coach Southern, and the staff that he's built in every area of our athletics, they've done a great job. We just had a deep run with our basketball. So many things. He's done a great job to be able to kind of reward him with being able to have a stadium that's ours.
Well, and reward the community in general.
That's right. Absolutely.
And the students.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not just football. So it's band. It's cheerleading. It's if we have a graduation that we can't have here inside due to any kind of circumstance, we have our own place for that in that stadium to be able to have that in. We can have our own revenues. The thing with our football team is we have to rent out Sam Houston, so they already have to start off the season in the hole.
Right.
Because we have to pay to rent that. So having that as our own facility, and then we can host playoff games, which means Madisonville, they receive money from us because we had a playoff game there. If someone uses our facilities for a playoff game, our school district gets that money.
Right. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And so it's just, and you'll have the argument, and I get it. Some people say, well, we're worried about athletics more than we are academics. In my opinion, we're not.
No.
I think the first bond will tell you that. It is all about improving our environment, improving the atmosphere for academics. But there are so many of our kids who excel who are athletes who excel in the academics area.
And you can see it in the athletic program and in the leadership that they're making sure that those kids that are involved in athletics are getting really good grades. I mean, if you look at their activity and their performance, they're doing excellent.
Yeah, all across. They just. Here's the thing, the administration are starting from the top down with Dr. Shepard, and the people that he's hired. They've done the hard work of really doing an amazing job for Huntsville. If you look at some of the things, and with Paul Brown, who's the CFO, we've gotten in the last 3 years an A financial rating.
Right.
And all the money that we've gotten, or all the money where he's found places to put us in the black, he's given it back to the teachers. So I have no doubt that these funds will help. Now, here's the thing about bond funds. They can't go directly to teacher salaries. There's 2 different things. There's called M&O and there's called INS. All of this is available for you, and I'll let you know about this in a minute. But M&O is our maintenance and operations funds. That's where our teacher salaries come from. I&O takes care of the buses and some of the things that require air conditions break down. There's some of those things that require us to have to repair those. Well, what happens is the money that some people have acceptable bond debt in their community, they're able to recover. They're able to pay for some of the INS through the bond. Because of Huntsville, we don't have a bond debt. We don't have that type of acceptable bond debt. We have to take the M&O monies and we have to pay for the INS out of that, which takes away from our ability to be competitive and pay our teachers what they've earned and what they deserve. So what bond does is bond helps free up some of that M&O money to where we're not having to spend it on aging facilities and buses and other things, and technology stuff that breaks down. We're able to use that freedom to help pay some more our teachers.
And for more curriculum and more
curriculum.
More school information. Okay, good. So the election is May 1st, correct?
May 1st.
And then there's early voting starting April 17th.
Yes, that's correct.
And then if you want to get online and find more information, it's buildingforchampions.com. And that's if you want to get more involved and help promote the bond. You can also go to the school district website so that you can find out more information about what the bonds are including. And reach out to anybody who's involved in the bond, and they'll get you more information as well if you have questions.
Yeah, here's what's great thing about the school district. They have these flyers that you can download and you can print, and all the information we talked about is on here. You don't have to have a student in HISD to be able to vote, as long as you're registered to vote here in Huntsville and you're able to vote for this. 65 and over, taxes are frozen.
Yes, if you live within the school district boundaries, you can vote for this.
Yep.
So we hope that you'll say yes to Huntsville Schools on May 1st. Anything else?
Absolutely. You can also join our Facebook page. We do have Building for Champions Facebook page. And the main thing on buildingforchampions.com that you can do right now, take 2 minutes. You can sign up for a free yard sign. And you can also sign up to endorse the bond. Put your name on it, but don't forget, just because you endorse it doesn't mean you're voting for it online. You have to actually still go in and vote for the bond.
And early voting will be at the storm shelter this year.
Yes, and we're looking forward to it. Yes. I say yes to Huntsville, and also say yes to Prop A and Prop B.
Thank you for being with us today, BJ.
Absolutely.
And watch for the next Say Yes to Huntsville interview.
Thank you.